Oh man, where do I even start with this one right here? You know, less than a month ago, I had uploaded a video explaining why I thought Past Lives was probably my favorite film of 2023, and then Christopher Nolan just decides to drop this banger of a film on my head just a few weeks after I made that. You know what, man? Fair enough. Fair enough. Oppenheimer, as it stands right now to me, might just be the magnum opus of Christopher Nolan's entire filmmaking career. As I'm writing this video right now, I've already seen the movie twice, and my opinion stands strong even after the second watch because by then it only gets better. And that's one thing that lets me know I can feel really strong about this opinion because Christopher Nolan movies are, well, I'll just be honest, they're not that fun to rewatch for me. I love the dude as a director and a filmmaker and a storyteller, but his movies rarely ever feel like they get better after you watch it a second time. I think that might be the case for something like, let's say, Tenet, but overall, his films always are the most fascinating to me after the first watch, with very few exceptions. But this right here, this is the biggest exception. I went to the movie theater the first day to watch this when it came out, and I was entirely invested from start to finish. Then 2 days after, watched it again, was even more invested. And a lot of that has to do with two specific things: the screenplay and the performances. The screenplay here for Oppenheimer takes Nolan's time-jumpy style of story structure and bends it a bit to be much more easy to follow by making it somewhat like The Social Network. The main event going on in this film isn't the Manhattan Project, but actually the Oppenheimer security hearings between him and Louis Strauss. And the actual events of the Manhattan Project and Oppenheimer's life are being presented to us as if Oppenheimer is recounting those events in a specific order based on the security hearings until we get to the actual trials of Oppenheimer. That way it kind of maintains the traditional skim through the person's lifestyle that biopics usually have, but it does it in a way that makes it make sense for it to do that. It also does it better since we have a much shorter window, being from Oppenheimer's time at school to when he first becomes a professor, to the Manhattan Project, then to the events leading up to the security hearings. And on that note, it's time to talk about the big elephant in the room, Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy's Oppenheimer is brilliant in such unique way, as it's such a big deal and such an important role, and such a big and stressful toll on an actor, based on the fact that this performance, this character, this person is so much bigger than just the actor and so much bigger than the film itself. It is something that is a bigger deal than the piece of media that it's in, and Cillian Murphy just fucking crushes it. We've all known he's a fantastic actor from the start, and this was his massive shining moment to really show the full extent of his range. This is easily the most introspective and nuanced performance you will ever see in a biopic style of film. In fact, I can sum up his performance in this movie and the development of Oppenheimer in this film simply by comparing the first and final shots we get of Oppenheimer. So let's look at them right here. In this first image, you see a man that's kind of lost in his own world, staring into the water, but really staring into space. A man shrouded by curiosity and wonder. In these first 10 to 20 minutes, you see someone so enamored by the wonders of science, physics, and discovery that he's practically inside his own world, picturing the possibilities mankind can create. He sees wondrous, colorful, and beautiful images of the smallest thing creating the most fascinating stuff. And then we compare this with the second image. Here, you see an older version of him, still staring into the water, but really staring into space. Still lost in his own world and mind, but in a completely destroyed state of it. His spirit is entirely messed up, and the terrible capabilities he imagines put his face and body in such a terrible state of fear that he can't shake off. This is a man who realizes the catastrophic consequences that he introduced, and who realizes the legacy he has created. A man who understands what he has unleashed upon the world and understands just how terrible and horrifying discovery can really be, and just what awful things human fascination can bring to the world. All he can picture is destruction. Destruction he has somewhat caused, and that is the legacy he'll forever be stuck with. These are the first and last shots you see of Oppenheimer, and the contrast between these two images alone tell you all of the story and nuance behind this person. All you have to do is look in the eyes to understand the difference. Cillian Murphy's presentation of Oppenheimer's complexity, pros, cons, intelligence, confidence, fascination, his fear, regret, panic, and terror all create a disturbing atmosphere that subtly follows and grows throughout the entirety of the movie. It gives the audience a discomforting feeling of dread that they can't even recognize until the final scene comes, which is where the chills really begin to flow up your spine. And even then, it's not like Cillian is the only fantastic actor here. Everyone gives it their best. Robert Downey Jr. is in a very antagonistic role, which is very rare for him, and plays a subtle form of a guy just trying to do his best for everyone, but later slowly begins to show his true hateful, vengeful intentions with his manipulative charm and his insecurity slowly seeping out of him until it culminates into this full breakdown that reveals just how pathetic and petty this person really is. RDJ as Louis Strauss is seriously a perfect performance a lot of people probably didn't expect. And everyone in here is so great. Emily Blunt, fantastic. Matt Damon, fantastic. Florence Pugh doesn't get that much to do. Well, I mean, she does get a lot to do, but she doesn't have that much screen time, but she still does the best she can with it. There's also other great performances like Dane DeHaan, Rami Malek, Benny Safdie, and especially Alden Ehrenreich and Tom Conti. Just absolute fantastic performances around the board. And we can't forget the soundtrack either. Nolan movies always step it up with the music, and this is no different. In fact, it's one of the best. The music in this movie really does carry a lot of the experience because it's what creates the suspense and tension. This film is a lot of different things. It's a historical drama, a war biopic, some Western elements, and surprisingly, some horror elements. There are scenes in this movie that, because of the music and because of the sound editing, will leave you on the edge of your seat and jumping from sudden shock as if you were watching a Conjuring movie. I felt my heart racing so much in this film that at times I thought it was going to stop beating. And a lot of that has to do with the music and sound. Obviously, the Trinity test, the atomic bomb, those were the biggest and most popular things being talked about for the movie. And yeah, it looked amazing, and the way it was directed left me speechless, which is a testament to how good the movie is because I don't even think it's a top 3 scene in the film. There are 3 specific scenes in this movie that I can confidently say are even better than the Trinity test, which again, railroading into my other area to cover, visually, it's spectacular as well. There are these random half-second long shots where we delve into the mind of Oppenheimer and the other scientists and see these weird sciencey visions in their mind to see just what kinds of things they're imagining. And they just look so mesmerizing to look at. In the first 20 minutes, there's this montage of Oppenheimer in his younger years trying all these different tests, and there's this one moment where these spinning rings he's imagining, made of light, are circling around a ball of light in the middle of his room, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever looked at, despite it only lasting a few seconds before cutting away to something different. And the craziest thing about it is that none of it is CGI. All of these things were made and recorded from Nolan and the creative team doing random little science experiments and gaining footage for them. There was so much creativity going into the vision of this film that I wouldn't mind watching a documentary of the same length just talking about how this movie got made. Because listen, this movie is long, it is very long, but it doesn't feel like that at all. I sped through this movie faster than John Wick 4 and Avatar 2. And that's surprising because most of the movie is just talking. It's mostly all talking with some very tense scenes in there. And yet it's all so good. I've never felt such an immersive, captivating, and introspective experience in a theater as I did watching this, which is why I genuinely believe this might just be the best Christopher Nolan movie. Inception is something very dear to my heart, but when I think of every Nolan film, everything about Oppenheimer, just from a writing perspective, visual perspective, technical, acting, editing perspective, Oppenheimer just succeeds them in every way. The sheer weight of what the Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb means for the world, and humanity pushes itself on you to create this stressful, existential dread that'll just have you trembling solely because it's reminding you how real and dangerous and present that this threat is. It gets you to the point where you will leave the movie, go outside, look at the world around yourself, and just think, damn, we could destroy all of this. And so, yeah, Oppenheimer is my movie of the year so far. Sorry, past lives, I still love you, but as Mr. Strauss said, that's just how the game is played. At least I think that's how it was phrased. But yeah, I love Oppenheimer, I love Christopher Nolan, I love Cillian Murphy, and I love Robert Downey Jr. I love everyone involved in this movie. It was amazing, it was fantastic. I can't wait to watch it again because I'm gonna rewatch it at least 2 more times. I've started to do a lot more movie reviews as of late, so if you guys want to see more content like that, just feel free to let me know and tell me some movies you'd like to see me cover. I'm still gonna do the anime and manga stuff, but I do want to do more movie reviews since I prefer movies as a medium compared to anything else. I also kind of want to do book reviews in the future. I'm currently reading Blood Meridian. If you want to see me talk about that on the channel, then let me know. It would be a pretty confusing review, but either way, I do want to talk about the book, so if you are down to hear me make a video just about this crazy book, then just tell me in the comments. And if you like the video, obviously leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're not new, well, you should still like the video and share it with your friends, and I will see you guys next time. Y'all have a good day.